It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by SureHold, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, SureHold has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. ShipShape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ShipShape means trouble-free. ShipShape means being neater. ShipShape makes boat work easier. ShipShape is the way to go. The ShipShape Boat Care Show.
ShipShape, South Florida's only boat improvement show, is being brought to you in part by Boat Owners Warehouse, Everything Marine, and by Cable Marine, where our qualified people make the difference, and by RPM Diesel Engine Company, much more than an engine company, and by Yacht Interiors by Shelley. When extra is needed, extra is given.
Thanks for tuning in to ShipShape, the boat improvement show. I'm your host, John Greviskis, and this is my partner, Burt Dell.
Howdy, folks.
We're on location today in Jupiter, Florida, at Bluff Marina, and today we're going to take a closer look at your diesel fuel.
More specifically, the filtering of your diesel fuel.
A lot of people really take care on the kind of fuel they take into their boat. An example is triple filtered diesel. Today we're going to take a look at what happens when you live in a tropical environment and you have any air in your fuel tank. Condensation will form, thus forming algae. Today we're going to take a look at a system at removing that algae. But as always, if you have a suggestion for a project that you'd like to see covered here on ShipShape, write us a letter or send us a fax.
Write your project suggestions to ShipShape, the TV show. Attention Project Director, Post Office Box 31561, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida 33420. Or fax us at area code 407-626-4348.
When we come back from this short break, we're going to meet Scott Henley from Henley Enterprises, so stay tuned.
Don't sail away. ShipShape will be right back.
SureHold brushes are the go-to choice worldwide for quality deck brushes, featuring split-end bristles that hold more soap and water for effortless and effective cleaning, an iconic solid wood block that is exceptionally durable and long-lasting, a rubber built-in safety bumper that protects surrounding surfaces from accidental damage, corrosion-resistant fittings made from marine-grade alloys that will never rust or corrode, SureLock system compatibility for positive locking into any SureHold handle. Quickly and easily change brushes while saving space and time. Each SureHold brush is proudly built in the USA to SureHold's famous quality standards. SureHold, clean and simple.
I'd like to introduce you to Scott Henley of Henley Enterprises. Good morning, Scott, and thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure, Bert.
You want to tell me a little bit about what Henley Enterprise actually is, or what you guys do?
Well, Henley Enterprises, we're a complete yacht maintenance service.
Mm-hmm.
And that means from anywhere from exterior, interior, engine rooms, fuel filtration, oil changes, zincs, bilge pumps, electronics, trim tabs. Basically, whatever your boating or yacht maintenance need, I can provide it.
So if it floats, you can work on it.
It's a good way to put it, Bert.
Great. This morning we're going to be taking a look at a fuel filtration system, I believe it is.
Yes, today in South Florida, we have in the tropical environment and a high humidity. And what I find in my business is you get a lot of algae or contaminated fuels. And even though everybody thinks, okay, my fuel tanks are great, there is something going on in your tank that it happens in every tank. So we have to watch for that. And what we're going to do today is we're going to hyper-filtrate this fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is we're going to take right from the bottom of the tank, pull up all the contaminants from the bottom of the tank, run it through a filtration system, and we're going to put back clean fuel back into the tank. And we're going to recirculate that fuel and agitate the tank and hyperfiltrate that fuel.
Well, tell me, how does the algae actually get started in the tank?
Okay, what happens is when the tanks are in any other state but maximum, or when they're not in full, there's an airspace created.
Right.
So in that airspace, there's its own little greenhouse effect, if you will. There is, from the humidity in the night, in the cold, in the daytime, you get condensation. And in that condensation, the water droplets form on the sides of the tanks, and then it drips down into the water, or into the fuel. So when that happens, and on the sides of the tank, algae and fungi start to grow. And then you get it keeps growing and growing and growing. So
then becomes a problem.
Exactly. It starts clogging your filters. So one of the maintenance things is about every 3 years, they say, or depending on the severity, it could happen in 6 months. If you get some bad fuel from someplace. So what we do here is we can pull out the fuel, the bad fuel, circulate the fuel that's in your tank, and take out the algae and trap it, and then put back pure, clean fuel.
And this is called polishing the fuels, right?
That is the term, polishing the fuel.
Okay, great.
This is very, very easy.
Oh, that broke loose fairly easy.
Yeah, this is a very, very easy steps. Doesn't take a lot of technical.
Well, that's quite a long sending unit now, isn't it?
Yeah, the capacity of this tank is 1,000 gallons. It basically is the entire cockpit area. And I want to elaborate a little bit on this sending unit.
Okay.
Basically, sending units all do the same job. This floats at the surface of the level of the fluid, in this case, diesel fuel. And what's unique about this sending unit is that there is no connection between the needle and this actuating rod. And as the fluid level changes, so does the float. And it is on a little spiral mechanism here, and it turns a little magnet underneath inside the sending gauge. And this little gauge itself is actually it's its own little part, and it is removable. But when we were kids, we used to take 2 magnets and put a piece of paper between them, and we could move the magnet on the other side of the paper without touching it.
Right.
And thus, there is no connection. So the nice thing about this is that needle's on its shaft is not connected, and there's no seal to worry about failing, and there's no way any contaminant can get in or out. So what it's done by a magnetic field controls the gauge. The magnet moves around the exterior as that, and then thus moves the needle.
So the rod has its own magnet, and the needle has its own magnet.
Correct, and the little magnetic field, it follows it.
Right.
So it's really a really nice way to make a gauge.
So this has to be one of the most simplest sending units that they have.
Actually, yes, this is a very simple gauge, and for this purpose, it works excellent. Okay, Bert, the first thing we need to do here to polish the fuel is we're going to attach this probe, or the pickup tube, to the machine.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show you and give you the principles of what the machine does.
All right.
Okay, here we have the pickup. The fuel is going to come in from the tank through the sending unit into the valves, and from the valves it goes into the filter. At that point, it comes in to this bowl where the centrifuge is, where it actually will circulate the fuel and actually put it into a centrifugal motion and force the water to the outside of the sediment bowl, and it will collect here in the bottom of the bowl. Then the fuel, after it's been separated from the water, will travel up and get into the filtration element itself. And once it goes through there, then it'll come out the outside part of the filter and go into the pump. So I have good, clean fuel running through the pump.
Right.
After it leaves the pump, we're going to route it so it goes back into the fill tube of the tank, which is located on the port side of the boat.
Don't drift off. ShipShape will be right back.
Hi, I'm John Greviskis with ShipShape TV. Look at this guy and all the products he needs to maintain his boat. I guarantee you he'll be tripping over that stuff all day long. Forget that nonsense. Use what I use, the SureHold family of products, the one handle that does it all. Any one of these quality-built SureHold attachments easily locks right into place, and here's the best part. They're the best quality items money can buy. You have my word on it. Whether it's for your car, truck, RV, or boat, keep it ship-shape with SureHold products.
Okay, Okay, Bert, what we're doing here is we're taking this pickup tube, or the probe, and we're gonna insert it through the sending unit, which we removed earlier, and we're gonna go all the way to the bottom of this tank, and now we've hit it. We're there.
All right.
Now what that does is allows us, because your fuel pickups for your engines don't go all the way to the bottom. They leave that space to keep you away from that water and slime and bacteria. So what we need to, this is why this is so important to get to the bottom of the tank where it all settles. Now what a lot of boat owners do, they'll put a bio bore or a BioGuard or some other fuel additive. And that is a good practice, but when they add it in there and it goes to work, well, it starts to break up all the sediments and the algae and stuff that's accumulated to the sides of the walls of the tank and through the baffles into the pickup tubes into your thing, all will accumulate there. When they put it in and say, well, I won't have a problem now because I treated it. Well, what that does, it loosens it up, and then they go run their boat, and now it starts to clog the filters. Well, it's a great practice, but this step will eliminate all of the debris that you just tried to treat and cure your problem, and instead of exaggerating it in your main engine filters, we're going to pull it out first. So then you have a full chance of getting pure fuel to your engines and not have your filters overloaded because of the treatment you just gave you.
So you won't be constantly changing your filters.
Exactly. The whole reason we're out here is to keep your filters cleaner and have less contaminants in your tank, so you'll have better running, or you'll keep the performance of your boat. If you add the BioGuard or the BioBore or any other fuel additive and it goes to work, it loosens it all up. It's doing its job. It does a great job. But then it's going to your engines, and that's what we're trying to eliminate. So this system will allow it to recirculate that fuel, clean it all out with the treated fuel, clean that fuel, and then when your engines take the fuel, it's nice, clean fuel. All right, Bert, next thing we need to do is access the fuel fill.
All right, let me pull the cap off. And you definitely don't want me to drop in the water, do you?
Oh, yes, I was just about to say that. Please don't drop that in water. And I know people who do this, once you do it once, you don't do it again. Okay.
Let me set this down here out of the way.
All right, go ahead and put that discharge into the fill location.
All right, I got her down in there.
Great. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start filtering this fuel. And I'm going to leave these two filters closed so the pump doesn't have to work as hard to pull all that air through these filters, because we have some air left in this line, and we start pulling that fuel up off the bottom of the tank.
So you're able to bleed it off on one filter then?
Correct. Okay, Bert, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll start pumping some fuel and filtering it.
All right.
Open the valves, turn the switch. Now you'll see, we can bleed off some of this air that's in the line, but you'll get the picture of what is actually happening. It's exaggerated with the air, but the point is made. The fuel is being spun in a venturi.
All right.
And in that centrifugal force, the water is heavier than the fuel.
So it blows all your water out to the...
Correct. And then it'll accumulate down here and fall, since water is heavier than fuel, it will fall here and accumulate in the bottom of the bowl. You can see that it's very dramatic and it's doing a good job.
Oh yeah.
We'll bleed some of this air off through this one. There it goes. Then I'm going to open up the next bank through the manifold. We've got it all running through the one right now to get all that air out. I'm going to open up another one, allow it to pull through this filter. You'll see this happen, a little air, turbulence. Actually, you can see some particles.
Yeah, you can.
It's picking up some particles already. I'm going to go ahead and open up the third bank. And we'll be running at maximum capacity here in just a minute. And as you see, the air depletes. It looks like nothing's happening, but that fuel is traveling around just as fast as it was with the air, and it centrifugally forces the water out, and it'll accumulate here in the bottom of the bowls. And then we're doing this at a capacity of about 600 gallons per hour, which is a pretty high rate. Very low pressure, but a lot of volume. And we're going to come back in about 6 hours, and we're going to see what we've collected.
All right, great.
Okay, Bert, here we pulled the machine off the boat, and this is what we had after 6 hours of filtrating.
Man, is that a dirty filter.
Tell you what, this one is definitely neat. And he really wouldn't thought he had a bad tank, you know? But it's in there. And then we put the machine back on and ran it for another 6 hours with a 2-micron filter. And that's what this looks like. And I'm gonna show you a dramatic 30 micron, 6 hours, 2 micron, 6 hours. You can see how well that filter cleaned that tank. Now, just to show you, Bert, go ahead and hold that new one up. This is what a new one looks like. Now here you got a brand new one, 6 hours at 30 micron, 6 hours at 2 micron. So that tank is completely cleaned and we're ready to go fishing.
Well, Scott, I see the guys got the boat started up and I think they're ready to go. So thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And good luck fishing.
Thank you.
Chapman's Corner is brought to you by Chapman School of Seamanship.
Today on Chapman's Corner, we want to give you a few tips on how to safely fuel your vessel. First, I want to make sure that all my hatches are closed, that all my electrical systems are shut down, all my passengers are off the vessel, and no one's smoking. Then, I want to ask for the type of fuel that I'm going to be putting on board the vessel. Diesel, please. Thank you. Once she hands me that nozzle, place it into the proper fill hole. Make sure that you're putting fuel in a fuel spout. I've seen many people that have put diesel in a water tank. Go ahead and start your fueling procedure, and as you do that, check your vent. The air that's in the tank has to be vented. Make sure that that vent is clear. Once you've completed that, go ahead and take the hose out, hand it back to the attendant, and now you've done the proper safety fueling procedures. From Chapman School of Seamanship, this is Tom Dante.
I'd like to introduce you to Bob Stella, the owner of Stella Marine. Bob, you're the top pursuit dealer in the world. You have the largest selection of pursuit boats. What boat are we going to look at today?
We're going to take a look today, John, at the 2470 center console Pursuit, which has been a very, very good selling boat ever since we introduced it. It's been a very tough boat to keep in inventory, both with a single 225 Yamaha that I'm going to show you today, and then we offer it with twin 130 or twin 150 Yamahas.
I've got you.
And they've been real hot boats.
What are some of the features on this boat, Bob?
Well, the big features on the boat are, number one, it's got an integrated transom. And what that means is the hull in that boat, even though it's a 24-foot boat, the hull goes all the way out to almost 25 feet. Most companies today are understating the size of their boats. You know, we are not. You know, our size is really longer than what it is. That gives you the ride, the recessed trim tabs, the transom door.
Now that's new in '96, the recessed trim tabs.
Right, with the integrated transom, you're enabled to do this.
Now, what's the advantage of having those?
If you back it into a dock, number one, performance.
Okay.
Cavitation, you can trim the boat really quicker. You know, it's not sticking out at the end, electrolysis-wise, everything. It just makes a better ride for the boat.
I've got you. Now, they have the traditional herringbone non-skid.
All right, that non-skid you'll see on all the Pursuits, it's their trademark.
It sure is.
You know, and you know how good it is when you're out there fishing and you're not slipping around. It really gives you a good bite. The transom door in the boat for entering makes it really easy. The split bench boxes up forward that are all built in with a mold.
Okay.
Gives you a lot of seating, because, you know, most gals, where am I going to sit in a center console when their husband's at the helm? And so you can sit 4 or 5 people up front, real comfortable, and be able to take some of the heavy waves out there in the ocean.
Right. Talking about those waves, now Pursuit has kind of built the boat to kick the water away from the boat. Is that correct?
That's right, they have. They use a modified V hull, and they chime in the end. So when you're trolling, you're not rolling around. It's got a lot of stability to it. Yet it's not going to pound on you because of the deep V entry up forward and the degree of dead rise on the transom.
Well, the boat's laid out to fish. Let's talk about some of those amenities.
Well, for fishing, of course, you got rocket launches, leaning post. You've got 2 high bait wells, fish boxes. Everything's right at your fingertips at the transom. Tackle centers, nice big fish box. Everything runs under the boat. Nothing runs in the deck of the boat. So again, you know, if you empty out your fish box, you're not going to get any residue on the deck. It's going to go right out through the hull of the boat.
That's real important. Now, talking about price on a boat like this, Bob, what are we looking at?
You know, I just finished a couple of boat shows, and I went around and I shopped some other products. And we are the top quality line and the top fishing boat today. And there are some boats out there that are similar quality, like Grady White, let's say. They don't have the look we have and some of the new features that we have. Our prices are pretty close to what our competition is. Yet people perceive that Pursuit is a very high-priced boat. It's a value.
It's a well-built boat.
It's a well-built boat. It's a value. Try to find a used one. It's almost impossible. You've been looking for one.
Right. Now, Bob, where can people come and preview the boat?
Well, right now we're in Stewart, and we're just on the southeast corner of the Palm City Bridge. And we have 550 feet of display with all our boats. Also in Palm Beach Gardens, on PGA Boulevard, right at Sovereign Harbor, right across from the famous Waterway Cafe, is our other marina. So both marinas are very accessible to 95, the Turnpike, major highways.
Well, Bob, thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks for
Until
having us
next
on.
week.
Okay.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. As you can see, pure fuel is a must.
And tune in next week.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. Ship shape is the